Say Sawtooth Bushcraft. Got a little bit of a different video I want to do tonight. I like retro and vintage. We were just talking about those words. Cowboy stuff, especially the stuff that reminds me of when I was a kid. I was at a secondhand store around here. They have the youth ranch stores, and picked up these pretty cool chaps, similar to some that I had when I was a kid. You see these at antique shops, very, very expensive. These were $20, which is not cheap at a secondhand store. I thought I could clean them up and put them with some of the other childhood cap guns and some of those things that I've been able to pick up. So we're going to see if we can't do that. What I'm going to start off with this is all suede leather or split hide, what we called rough out when I was a kid. I'm just going to sand it off. If you look right here, you can see that somebody's written on it, had a piece of tape or a price tag on it at one point. It's got some staining and some things like that, and we're just going to see if we can't work some of that out. I'm going to start off with just some sandpaper, and we're going to see if we can't make some of that come out of this. And fix that surface so that it looks hopefully like it did when it was new. So you can see that the price tag piece of tape, whatever it was, we've about got it out of there. The writing, I think we're going to be able to get rid of. I was a little worried that it had soaked in far enough that it would be hard to get rid of, and it may be still. We'll just kind of see where that goes, but it is certainly lightening up a lot. Got to be careful, I suppose, not to go too deep, but this is pretty good thick leather where I think we'll be okay. Let's go ahead and work this whole thing. I've already worked a couple of these rosettes. You can see that they were in pretty bad shape on this side, and this side they've cleaned up pretty well. We're just going to work through the whole thing, clean it up as best we can. We'll see how that all turns out, and I'll share with you the final results when we get to that. What I'm using here is just some 180 grit sandpaper, not anything special. But if you look here, and I brought you in closer, you'll see that we've made a huge difference. The writing was right here. There's still a little bit, I'm working through that. There was some kind of blue discoloration right here. We're getting that, but we're getting a nice uniform suede color that is going to be really close to the original. It's cleaning up really well. I'll do both of the light sections. Actually, that gives you a pretty good idea. This is the same section on the other Chap, and it shows you just how much it's discolored, and if I hold it up, you can see all of the staining that's on here, and even with that, we are making substantial difference. It's starting to look pretty good, and I think it's going to turn out very, very well. What I have been doing is I'll work back and forth because it's easier when I'm trying to get the depth I need, but that seems to leave some striation type lines, some striping almost. So I'll go back over it and do kind of a circular motion, and it seems to really leave it really nice surface, nice texture. It's going to be really look really good by the time we're done with these. So what I'm going to do next is work on this Longhorn motif. It does have these nice brass studs, and so we're going to work around those, be real careful around them, but I think we can work through that. Again, if you look, you can really see a difference between what I've already worked across, how light it is and how clean it is compared to this. So we'll go ahead and start with that and just kind of show you what we're talking about here. Lightening right up and looks really nice. This actually is going frankly a little better than I expected. So I think we're going to have a nice end product that'll go well on the wall of my office. In my office I've got some of my own childhood cowboy clothing. I actually have a cowboy hat that my dad wore when he was a little boy. It's pretty worn out, but that would have been from, oh, the mid-30s. We'll put this with that, and I've got a set of little children's cowboy spurs. We should be able to put together quite a little collection. So I finished one side here, this lighter color, and you can see it started out about the same as this section right here. Same thing with the longhorn motif. It's lightened right up, and it was like this other was before. So it's going very well. We'll go ahead and do this one. Then I'll go, after I've taken care of the rosettes and the longhorn motif on the other chap, we'll go ahead and start working on this darker material. There are a few of the rosettes gone, and I'm going to have to see if I can't find something that I can replace those with to match what we've got, or at least to be similar to what we've got here. These fun little metal encased false rubies are just great, and we're going to see if we can't find something to go along with that, put this together, and so we'll start working on the next side. There's some stitching and thread right here where the cloth backing came around and was sewn in so that you could put your legs down in it like a pair of pants. I'm going to have to figure out how to straighten that up. We may just put it on the machine and stitch it back up. But right now we're just trying to refinish this leather, refurbish this leather a little bit so that it's cleaned up. Some of the stains are gone. Some of the, like I said, the writing and things, we'll get that out of this and see if we can't just make this into something that resembles some childhood. I'm going to post with this video a photograph of me as a child in a pair of chaps a lot like this. I know it's a bit windy. I'm not sure what kind of sound we're going to get here, but I know that we've gotten down through the lighter color here, and so what I'm going to do now is start on this darker up here at the top, the waistband, as well as these legs. This is just duct material, and that'll just be cleaned up later. But go ahead and bring this all around. Like I said, I've got a suede rosette gone here, as well as the ruby, and we'll work to fix those if we can. I'm just using some really basic 180 grit sandpaper, kind of a medium to fine grit, and it actually is working. I had planned on using a brass brush, but I saw this and thought maybe that was going to be a better option. I think it really came out better all the way around. Got some stitching here that from that where the legs attach, but just taking off that first layer that is so grimed up, and then also where necessary digging down a little deeper and getting rid of some of those deeper layers that are stained or marred in some way. Again, if you look at this, we'll look at this real quick before we go any further. If I can get it here, you can see there's some pretty bad staining here, and you can see where I've worked already. It really seems to be cleaning that up very well. We'll work around all of this that is showing and see if we can't clean that all up. So just keep working on it. Work on this section right here where those stains are really prominent. We'll see how those turn out. Give you a little indication of whether or not this is working for us. Sometimes I think in a situation like this you want some of what you'd almost call patina, the evidence of wear and the evidence of the fact that there was a little kid in these, but these were kind of beyond that. They were to the point where they were kind of unsightly. I think that this work we're doing now, we may have to do a little more touch-up. I may also try and lift some of the stains out. We'll see what we can do with that with some dry cleaning fluid, but it looks like to me, we'll take a look now. That's that section right there where it had those watermarks and just the stains, and there's still a little evidence of those. I'll work on it a little bit more, but it is coming out very nicely. These are going to look really good when we get done with it. I think right here above the longhorn motif, you can really see the difference where I've worked down to right here, and where the stain still is. You can just see a good line. Like I said, when I just go back and forth, which takes the most off, I do leave some striation, or some striping. So what I've been doing is just going back and doing a circular motion and getting rid of the evidence that I have sanded this off and tried to just get it to be kind of a uniform, smooth surface that looks like it was just the original leather. I can tell you, when I was a kid, I would have liked these. You know, when I was a kid, it was every TV show on TV was one of three things. There were some private eye shows, and they were big time, especially a little later in my childhood. There were military shows all about World War II. That was the focus of every military show. But the majority of shows that were going on at the time when I was growing up were Westerns. And Westerns covered everything from comedy to drama. Comedy like F Troop, drama like Gunsmoke, and then they even the old cowboy show, Western show, Have Gun Will Travel, was really kind of a hybrid private eye show. He traveled around fixing problems and figuring out who had done bad things and solving those, really a lot like the private eye shows that were going on then and became even more popular later. When I was a kid, a little bit of private eye play, but if you were playing, you were a little boy in the 60s, you were probably either playing cowboys and Indians or cowboys and rustlers, one of the two, or you were playing armies. And so that's why this stuff reminds me of an old West that I love anyway, as well as a great childhood growing up in the 60s and having heroes that were the TV cowboys. My expectation as I've been doing this, as I finish it up and it seems to be good, and then I lay it aside in a little different light, I'm seeing that I've missed spots and that there's some extra work to do. So I think what's probably going to happen is by the time I'm done, I'll have to go over the entire thing twice, or at least the majority of it twice. But for what I'm getting out of it, and as good as it's turning out, it's going to be more than worth the time. So take a look at the difference there, and you can see there's still some spots I'm going to have to do some extra work, and I'm going to have to, you can see these stripes that I'm talking about, I'm going to have to come back and do some circular motion, but that is a very, very different aspect than say this one. And that's, if you remember, that's kind of how this one started off. So I think we've got a real nice thing going there. So I've spent a little bit of time working over these chaps. They're just about done. You can see what a difference it's made just using the sandpaper to clean up that leather. Made a huge difference. We're going to go ahead and I found an outlet that we can get some of the ruby studs. We'll make some suede rosettes and replace the ones that are gone. But these will make a great decoration for my office, as well as a great pair of chaps for my grandson.